Mars, the planet of conflict and war, but also drive, ambition, willpower, and directionality, is moving into the sign of Capricorn. This is where he's exalted. He's like Superman, Batman, pick your superhero. He's going to get into that sign really, really soon on February the 4th through January 4th to February the 13th. And that's going to open up an exciting area of our sky. And it's pretty awesome because it's rare. And that is because Mars is invisible until the 27th of January. And then he rises in the early morning sky. And that's going to be a rising that's going to bring a big deal of change to the world that we haven't seen since January of 1977, add 2 years. And we're going to see now coming into our lives individually and the world starting in January of 2024, add 2 more years. So there's going to be themes of big change coming, and I'm going to be doing a whole deep dive video, at least 2 hours long, on this very awesome rising of Mars in a sign of exaltation. He loves being in Capricorn. He does superpowered stuff there. I'll be explaining why shortly. We're going to also talk about how, as he's moving through Capricorn, he's going to trine Jupiter and sextile Saturn. That is super luscious energy that you don't want to miss, and it's going to benefit you greatly. This is going to be especially true around January the 8th through to the 15th. And also, I do love the fact that he does come into a trine to Uranus at the very end of January. That can be an awesome seize the day moment or a sudden breakthrough in your life or in the life of something going on in this darn hell in a handbasket type of world lately. So hey, welcome to my channel, by the way. If you're new, my name is Lori Lothian, and I use the Western Tropical Zodiac and whole sign houses, fixed stars, and minor asteroids. If you like that kind of stuff, I put about 30 videos a month, and I also go to all my live premieres and chat with you and get to know you in the live premiere as we watch the content and discuss it together, and I take your astrology questions. So if that kind of thing interests you, hit that notification bell so you don't miss when I put new content out, nor do you miss those premieres. Now let's get going and talk about the sky. First of all, Mars moving through the sign of Capricorn. It's because it belongs to Saturn. That's Saturn's home. Saturn has 2 kingdoms in the ancient tradition, the Aquarius house and the Capricorn house. And when Mars goes through the sign, he gets a VIP treatment from Lord Saturn. They have a nice relationship in that way. And so this is this place where he gets extra special powered up. And you know, if you want to think about Mars transiting through Capricorn for 6 weeks every second year on average, the last time this happened was during the truckers convoy in Canada. Oh my God. Guys, you know about the truckers convoy? These guys drove across the country and cited a worldwide trucker movement protesting vaccine mandates, especially for truckers alone in their cab of the car. And that thing became a worldwide story. And unfortunately, it ended badly. Our government overreacted. Apparently, seized bank accounts of ordinary citizens, stole the trucker money from their fundraiser with Kickstarter or whatever they used. And basically, it was a debacle. And we ended up having a whole hearing on it and an investigation after. But the idea I'm trying to get across is that Mars rules truckers. Mars rules people who drive race cars too. And this was a big protest, and Mars can be very rebellious, right? Rebellion. And exalted over the top. So that's the last story of this 2 years ago truckers convoy in the winter of 2000 and, well, whatever year that would be, 2021. And here we are again. So I don't think we're going to have a truckers convoy, but I'm giving you that was a flavor of an exalted Mars in the sign of Capricorn. Now, Mars does rule rebellion. Right. And so you might see some exalted rebellions in the world, protests in the world, especially as he's going to co-join in a trine or flow in a trine to Uranus. So carte diem, seize the day, breakthroughs, intense breakthrough energy on the 3rd week, well, January 29th. And who knows what that could look like? Could be global, worldwide protests about things to do with war in the world, etc. Now, also, I want to mention that the energy of Mars moving into Capricorn is qualified by his invisibility, in my humble opinion. So he isn't really visible till the 27th of January, and will continue to be visible as he finishes Capricorn by February 13th. But it is to be pondered that if he's invisible and he trines Jupiter, and he's invisible and he sextiles Saturn, and this will be on January 10th and 12th, then is it as powerful? Because you can't see him in the sky yet. He's still blinded, covered by the beams of the sun, too close to the sun to astronomically or view him from Earth, right? And I'm using the 27th of January for his heliacal rise based on astronomy websites. I went to 3 different astronomical websites, and that's the answer I got. So I'm going to trust the astronomers, because I've heard some astrologers suggesting it's way down the pipeline. Some Babylonian astrologers, and I'm like, really? Really? He'll be almost 20 degrees away from the sun by the 27th of January, and he is predicted to be visible then in the early morning sky hugging Mercury. He will come into visibility on the 27th, conjunct Lord Mercury at 17 degrees of Capricorn. And, we're going to be diving into the Sabian symbol for that. We're going to go into like how this impacts your sign based on your sun, moon, and rising. We're going to even go into a webinar to talk about it, because especially important to know the position of your natal Mars and Saturn to delineate how powerful or not powerful this can be, including also which time lords are active in your life. That is going to be a very longer deep dive, maybe up to 2-hour webinar. And if you want to take that class with me, probably 90 minutes, I'll put the link in the description box below. It is going to be an important class to take, because in that webinar, I want to show you how you can use this rare event. Don't forget, not seen since 1977. So 1977, add 2 years, and you can get a flavor of how it impacted your life based on the Capricorn part of your sky, right? And there's 12 Pisces in your chart, and one of them is Capricorn. One house, one sign, one meaning. All right, so back to the world story. Let's go through some of the time frames here together. I'm opening up the chart in a minute. I'll share it with you. My hope here is to delineate not the heliacal rise conjunct Mercury on January 27th. That's this whole special video full of incredible things to do with the stars connected to it, the asteroids that are active in it. Like we are going to the decan that it's in, the second decan of Capricorn. I cannot wait to do that deeper video. But I will touch on the Uranus energy of breakthrough on January 29th for each sign as I go through this, as well as the trine to Jupiter and the sextile to Saturn that's happening on between the 10th and the 12th of January. The reason I'm going to cover them is they're very positive. And, the Saturn one with the Jupiter one, again, Mars is invisible. It can maybe signify something good that's there that doesn't become available fully to be realized maybe until after January 27th, and between that January 27th and February 13th, when he's in Capricorn, where he's creating that positive energy to both Jupiter and Taurus and Saturn and Pisces, but he can't execute it visibly maybe until later on. So I'm saying maybe because honestly, astrology is a hypothesis, empirical science. It really is. You make it a hypothesis that this is not going to make a big impact until after he goes visible, and you see if it's true based on the delineation. On the other hand, maybe it shows up even though he's not visible to our eyes. Maybe it shows up anyway as he comes into that flow to Jupiter and that flow to Saturn around the 10th and 12th of January. And he does some other great things, but I'll be doing separate videos on his square to Chiron. That's a bit gnarly around the 25th. There's a whole video of January, and his sextile to Neptune on February the 8th. That's another whole video. Okay, so again, let's get rolling. By the way, if you haven't bought my 2024 All Signs videos, the sale price is going to be done and gone, and you'll never get it back again by the end of January. That's 90-minute videos times 12. You can buy the bundle of those videos to share with friends and family, because what you get is a PDF download with links to those videos that are hidden from the public view. So you can share that with friends and family. So if that something that excites you, go for it. Grab it before it's gone. All right, and let's get rolling. Yeah, I'm recording on December 28th by my Patreon community. They get it early access ad-free. I think you guys get it a few days later. I'm going to share the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. And then we're going to delineate the all signs story. So here we have just a sky, and this is January 4th, and you can see that Mars is now moving into the sign of Capricorn. And he's right up here at 11 degrees. And I probably I'm going to hold this on to us right now. Give me a minute, edit the chart. I'm going to make it a 0 Aries so we can really not move things around too much once I start spinning the wheel. And so anyway, now you see Mars for you Aries people. Of course, Capricorn's your 10th house. Talk about a kick-ass career path for you in the next 2 years. Mars rising in your 10th house. Yay, you. But anyway, here we see the story of Mars entering at 0 degrees into Capricorn. And he's going to be moving through this sign and coming into contact with other bodies in the sky. And most predominantly and early on, he flows to Lord Saturn, who's now direct at 3 degrees of Pisces. And this energy of Mars flowing to Saturn is something we haven't seen for 29 years, right? Because Saturn had to be in Pisces. So it's a new flavor in your own life. You haven't seen it for about 29, 30 years. It's back. And so there's a nice rare quality. And then the Jupiter and Taurus Mars flow hasn't happened in 12 years from Capricorn. So we have 2 rare cycles happening all at once. And you can see that there's a flow in our sky between Saturn and Jupiter, and that's called a sextile. And Mars is opening up a doorway to them. And I'll just watch what happens in the sky as we move forward, and look at the blue lines, okay? There's a lot of junk in the trunk here, and you might not be able to see it. So, but here it is. This Mars at 3 degrees, Saturn at 4 degrees, Jupiter at 5 degrees is forming what we call a mini grand trine or miniature trine. And that's a very positive, super fortunate energy. So we're starting to really feel it picking up around January 9th, and it will be in play till about January 15th. So from January 9th to January 15th, what this feels like is probably something very fortunate and very lucky. Interestingly enough, Venus will eventually come into the place where Mars is and do the same thing later in January. So we're going to get a double whammy of the same energy this month. It's so great. So basically, Mars is saying something here, starting around the 9th. I want to talk, you could even feel it earlier than that, honestly, because the 3-degree orb says Mars begins to really engage as soon as he steps in at 0 degrees. So beginning around January 4th and 5th, all right? 4th and 5th, you feel this energy of Saturn in a collaboration with Saturn. Saturn is in the sign of Pisces, and he has to listen to Jupiter. So it's where does the buck stop? I like this energy of this because Jupiter watches what Saturn's doing, right? And it says, okay, Saturn, like, like be a good boy in my Piscean mansion, would you? I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea if you could do that. And yet then Mars is in Saturn's home. And so basically, it's like if you're a guest in my home, what would you do? You try to please me, right? You wouldn't want to trash my house. You would probably water my plants, walk the dog, keep the kitchen clean or something like that. So I really feel like this is that same energy here. Mars is wanting to please Saturn, and Saturn wants to please Jupiter. Everybody's on a pleasing tree, right? Mars is saying, I want to please you, Saturn. Saturn's saying, I want to please you, Jupiter. And so this is a very weird kind of grand trine where everyone's trying to do something to get along with the other, or to get approval or collaboration with the other. So here we see that Mars is going to say to Saturn in the very beginning, starting around, the 4th and 5th of January through to the 12th, really. Can we stabilize a longer term gain in the Pisces region of the sky and in the Capricorn part of the sky that's going to look like a kind of, here's more Saturn positive words: hard work, nose to the grindstone, focused action, active forbearance, really pushing, determination, discipline, and drive, power and willpower, all meshed up together in each of our lives. We'll all be feeling that in some particular way. We'll be working on something there, right? Everyone is different. It depends on your rising sign, how you will use this kind of focused action, hard work, nose to the grindstone energy. But you can really be, in a powerful way, determined and exalted in your passionate determination to focus on nose to the grindstone stories. And then we also see that there is a trine to Jupiter that begins to become more tight. Right now, you can see when he first starts out 4th and 5th of January, flowing to Jupiter 5 degrees away, but engagement is 3 degrees in traditional astrology. And we see the engagement beginning on January the 9th as Mars begins to flow to Jupiter. And so this flow to Lord Jupiter begins to be felt as it kind of things of good timing, fortunate action, courage of your convictions, big heroic energy, getting your inner hero revved up. Jupiter brings luck and so therefore fortunate or lucky. Mars is action and directionality and things you choose. So action, it's like fortunate decisions, fortunate actions, fortunate endings, because Mars cuts, ends, and severs. So things can end that are fortunate for you. Like, hallelujah, I really didn't want that job. Hallelujah, I didn't really want that trip I was going to take. Cutting, ending things you don't need as well, especially in exaltation. But he's cutting in Mars's Saturn sign, right? So he's cutting with a kind of a prudence or a caution. He doesn't like go willy-nilly like an Aries Mars. He's cutting carefully what needs to be cut. And so this is a positive sky, but reminding you that Mars is not yet visible. Maybe it's possible that he's not as powerful yet in determining what he will be doing once he rises on January 27th. And then we can say some of this active forbearance and determination and nose to the grindstone and good timing and fortunate and lucky decisions and actions and heroic quests that you're germinating, let's say between January 4th and the 20th, really. Well, this is still in a waning energy. And then boom, 7 days later, the 27th of January to February 13th, some of this secret backroom, secret action out of visibility, because he's invisibly playing with Jupiter and invisibly playing with Saturn. And Jupiter and Saturn are both visible right now. then he's going to take what he's been doing behind the scenes and bring it into the visible world. Hypothesis. Let's see how it really works out. And he will come into a square. So let's keep him moving forward, but I'm not going to cover that in this video for the all signs. I'm going to cover what it means to have Mars in this house. And I'm going to focus, I think, mostly on the trine to Uranus, reminding you, because he's invisible, I'm not sure what this really is going to mean. I might include the hard work and the heroic quests as well. We'll see. And here we go. You can see he's going to come into a chironic a square. Just get ready for that. There's Mars at 10 degrees and not yet here. What day is that Chiron square? January 25th. Okay, so Mars is going to square the wounded healer Chiron. And so Mars is at 15 degrees of Capricorn and Chiron will be at 15 degrees of Aries. Now, that's an important energy. I should take the moon out of there. I never use the moon in these charts because it just gives you visuals, visuals you don't need. But here's an important thing. This is where all the action is in the sky. This is going to be the conjunction of the North Node with Chiron. It's a very rare event. 4 times in the last 200 years this has happened. And it's going to happen on February the 19th. And that's also going to be then after that, the same kind of hot sky of the big total solar eclipse at 19 Aries on April 8th. So this is a very important piece of our sky right now. It's going to tell us a lot about what's going to go on in the world regarding themes of war and conflict, for example, as well as bold, pioneering, and inventive energies. And so what I would wonder about myself, just as a general thought, is that Mars on January 25th, not quite yet visible, still secretly behind the sun, is going to be activating something for this chironic energy that really plays out February 19th, really plays out again in April, and it has to do with themes that are embedded within Capricorn itself. And I find it fascinating that Venus, who's a goddess of money, and Capricorn's top-down structures, banks, mortgages, banking industry, economies, the Federal Reserve, that kind of stuff. This could be some deep energy going on with currencies and money and Federal Reserve stuff that is going to be triggered here by Mars, but not really fully developed until perhaps after the 27th when he goes direct, and also being reincited and reactivated later on in February and April with the eclipse and the conjunction of Chiron and the North Node. Central bank digital currency announcements, things to do with economic announcements, banking failures, possibly banking industry stuff. I hope not, but I'm just giving you some ideas. And then we see moving and war. I mean, Chiron is the mentor of the warriors of the world, and the sign of war is Aries. Mars is exalted but invisible. So again, I don't think it's going to play as necessarily an outer world story. It may be quite hidden from our view in some way. Just to know that the Aries part of the sky, where Chiron is sitting and where the eclipse will happen and where Mars is squaring in January, is for Israel the 7th house of open enemies. So it's definitely going to impact that country. There's no doubt about it. All righty, now we're going to move into the energy of the sky as we go forward. And this is what I'm really liking. I mean, almost when I tell you, like, of all the things that I'm seeing here, I kind of enjoy this one the most. I just love Uranian energy with Mars. Mars did co-join with Uranus back in August of 2020. Brain come back online. Was it 23? Oh, when was that conjunction in August? Yeah. It had, no, 22, in August of 22, around 17 degrees of 17 degrees of Taurus. That's a part of this larger story. Now it's a trine from that conjunction. So there may be something that was going on in your life to do with major change that's been incited in your Taurus house of your sky. And this is a positive development, taking that Mars-Uranus North Node conjunction of late August, early August of 2022 further, okay, taking it further and in a very positive way. So I might try to tie that in there as we do the all signs portion. But again, seize the day, breakthrough energy, passionate action that has startling results, positive energies like that. I don't have Renn Butler's The Archetypal Universe book here, darn it, but those keywords are the ones that are coming to mind. It's really a lot of gumption and chutzpah, of bold decisions, actions, and bold energy, married to a kind of a illuminating breakthrough, breaking up fixed and stuck places in your life, because Uranus is breaking up things that are stuck, that are fixed, and sort of shaking up the fixed energy. Yes, that includes, unfortunately, earthquakes and weather events as well, especially earthquakes. But that's not an earthquake. This is a trine from Mars. I doubt it's an earthquake, but in your own life, it's not an earthquake. It's it's a breakthrough event or a seize the day event. Okay. Okay, let's move into maybe a seize the day opportunity, not just an event, because Jupiter is sitting with Uranus, getting ready for that great conjunction of April 21st, 2024. And at the very end, he will come into the sextile, of course, to Neptune. And that is just meaning that as he goes forward, he talks to Neptune in a flowing way. I like this a lot because there's been a lot of square Mars and square from Mercury to Neptune. And it's all about spin cycle propaganda, misinformation, disinformation. No one knows what's true or real, outright fabrications and lies when Mercury got involved. And here we see finally something positive coming as Mars goes into a flow instead and can clear the fog of illusion and delusion that Neptune has been creating perhaps in the lives of most of us these days, especially when it comes to trying to get any information about what's really going on in the world, what the real motivations, motives, and all of that are. I'm going to give you an example. I do not want you to tell me that I'm anti anybody or pro anybody, but a lot of you don't know that maybe about 2 weeks after the October 7th event in the Middle East, that the nation of Israel opened up licenses for British Petroleum and Exxon and a bunch of other oil exploration companies to rights to mine or look for gas and oil fields off the coast of Gaza. Yes, I'm spelling because the bots troll for this stuff and suppress the content. So yeah, that's a little interesting, isn't it? What are the real motives for turning something into a parking lot that used to house, 2.5 million people? Because if you have the land, you have the offshore rights. So there you go. Just to mention an idea about what Mars in a trine to Neptune, sea god, Saturn, in the ocean of Pisces could be talking about. Offshore. So in the ancient world, Saturn ruled the boundary between the ocean and the land, and commerce and trade that was done like fishermen between the ocean and the land. And so therefore, again, things to do with borders along water and land, and Mars clearing some illusion, disillusion, and fog, letting everyone see what's really going on. That could be a narrative. It could be a narrative. All right, so let's get rolling, and we're going to do the all signs delineation. I'm going to change the chart back to the I'm not going to pin Aries to the wheel anymore. I want you to listen for your rising sign first. It's more about you. Your sun sign can be about your career and purpose and your eternal self and your father figures. The moon can be about mother figures, home and body and safety and emotional needs. Okay, it's like the nest, the feeling of safety. But that's why we really also say the rising sign is probably most accurate. Though in Indian astrology, they look at your moon because it is the material realm, whereas the sun represents the spiritual realm, as a very accurate delineation. So it's really up to you to try all three and be the empiricist and see what really works. Probably wondering what I'm doing. I'm just spinning it. I'm standing in a window because there's construction. I'm trying to move a chair out of my way. Okay, so let's get going and do the all signs delineation. If you're at the live premiere watching this, don't forget to hit the like button. And by the way, if you are new to my channel, don't forget to try me out and hit that subscribe button and, give it a shot. Thanks, everybody. So we're going to get rolling here and talk about this particular sky. I was just adjusting the screen and I just realized my mic was on the wrong setting. So I probably had a really echo chamber of sound in the beginning. Sorry about that. This is very makeshift where I'm at right now. All right. Back to this story. Let's go through each sign. This is probably not going to take a long time. This video would probably take us about another 45 minutes. So if you're wondering how long to settle in, here we go. So we're starting with Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. And in the sky, you'll see Mars is moving through the top of your sky, which is wonderful. And this is going to be all about your career enhancement. You might want to go back, by the way, to 1977, because this is where Mars rose last in January, and he gave you a 2-year glow up in what you would call career and reputation and what you were doing in the visible world. We're all different. You know, maybe some of you were students that back then, like I was, but it was a great stellar time in my reputation in school as my grade soared. So whatever you were doing, your reputation was soaring to new heights back then. And it's going to come back this January 27th, but we're going to talk about that in my detailed webinar and or the longer video I'm putting out later this month to really dive into how powerful this time is for you. Definitely want to say that there's something percolating where Mars is trying to make a deal with Saturn in your 12th house, Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, to get something going in your career to do with offshore revenue, foreign lands, and foreign shores. This can be opportunities to work for an international company, to have foreigners support you in your business, to generate revenue for PayPal and Stripe or offshore borderless income in a new and powerful and super powered way. And this is going to be obvious to you. This is starting to be true around January 10th, give or take a few days on either side. And as you move towards January 12th, that also gets some Jupiter into the mix. And he says, let's more money, more resources, more income flowing at me. Now, the suggestion here is it could be delayed till after the 27th of January through to February 13th, when now we have a visible Mars to deliver the things he did back behind the scenes. So if that glow up to do with foreign revenue, foreign shores, and foreign lands, and income in the second house may take a little while to actually come to pass. It may also be a part of what is baked in energetically to the next 2 years of your life. Also, I do want to say that I think that energy of a trine to Uranus, that breakthrough, that sudden kind of shift of gears is going to be really important for you. Mars will flow to Uranus in the earnings house from the career reputation, where he's exalted after having had a chat with Jupiter. Wow. This can look like a real intense experience of an increase financially for you, a big financial up level coming through your sky that may be a breakthrough energy or a surprise for you coming into the sky around the 29th. Now, you know, who knows? If you're not working, it could be a sudden opportunity for a job, a dream job. If you make money already, it can be a sudden increase in your revenue from that job. Jupiter is bountifying and blessing you until the 3rd week of May anyway, to create greater resources and financial gain in your life. Look for a exciting, sudden, surprising, positive career and money story, though, around January 29th. And we're not going into deep dives on any of these things because there's a lot going on when Mars is moving through the sign of Capricorn. We're highlighting again the Saturn, Jupiter, and Uranus story for this all signs preview video. Taurus, Sun, Moon, and rising sign. What happens when Mars is moving through your 9th house? What happens is you get down with your spirituality, God, religion. You get into foreign land, shores, travel, and adventures. You probably want to win at court, and your lawyer does get you winning. Go to court, win, win, win. You can also with Mars is up here, end relationships with father figures. And that can be, especially with the sun up there, very indicative energetically of cutting cords with some kind of patriarchal or father figure. And it can also be great momentum, passion, and drive around academic stuff, as well as book publishing. Now, this story is going to be true from January 4th to February 13th. Couple caveats: Mars is not rising to visibility until January the 27th. When he does rise around January 27th in the sign of Capricorn, you will benefit in a 2-year window that follows, that you can have great success in all matters 9th house, which I just delineated. But also remember that the 9th house success was last seen by you way the hell down the pipeline in the past. And that past was down in 1977. And some of you weren't born January, add 2 years. We'll do the deep dive webinar on that. So stay tuned for that, plus a longer video. The webinar link is in the description box below. I usually do free webinars. This time, I think I'm not going to, because I'm going to put a lot more effort into this one. It's going to be almost 2 hours. So there'll be a nominal fee to attend, and it will fill up. So check it out. Hang on. I need just a little more light here. Just a sec while I try to get comfortable. I'm going to stop. No, I'm not going to stop the share. You get to see me trying my best to create some kind of seating arrangement here. There, that might be better. Can you see what I'm doing, guys? I'm literally trying to make a makeshift chair in front of a window where there's construction crews outside, and I'm losing the light. Okay. All right. Also, Mars is going to flow to Saturn. This is going to give you positive results coming around January 10th, give or take a few days on either side, to do with things to do with friends as allies and benefactors, and then later to Jupiter, who also wants to help you because he's helping you, you're helping each other. Jupiter and you are together, fused as one lucky entity. So you're having a lot of luck, bounty, magnanimous goodness happening, even good for your health. Something about that mini grand trine that's baking into like January 10th and 12th. And you want to give that a few days on either side, could show up at that time frame as some wonderful opportunity to do with foreign travel, academics, friends and friendship groups, and also you just feeling damn effing lucky. But it can also show up much later on after January 27th as an actual thing, not just as sort of almost a thing. We'll see. And, later on around January 29th, there's that trine to Uranus. And always give everything a few days on either side, okay? But starting January 29th, Mars trining Uranus in your house of you're the one carrying this freedom, rebellion energy, right? Don't forget, Uranus is a rebel energy as well, looking for freedom. And Mars is freedom to travel, freedom to do with spiritual stuff, freedom from academic environments, whatever. A travel for a big adventure that brings you a great sense of freedom. I'm just making words up, but these are some of the thoughts that I have. So hopefully you'll be able to use that or harness that energy in a positive way. And I think I might be changing my arrangement here because this is not comfortable. So let's stop the share. And I'm going to find another angle to try to sit down and talk to you guys. Give me a minute. I know the trolls are going to troll me because I moved, because I talk, because I do everything wrong. But look, I'm just telling you guys, you try traveling on the road and keeping your show going without like a studio or whatever. I'm holding the mic. Hopefully the sound is all right. I don't even know what to say. Okay, we're continuing on. And I think I'm finished with you guys. Hang on. Sorry about that, Taurus. You got a very disrupted session. And I'd say, you have this kind of, don't forget, when we're on January 10th and 12th, give or take 5 days on either side, energetically, you're driving. You're passionately driving with a focused determination and ambition. So it could be a wonderful time to really be passionately engaged in an academic project, finishing a book that you need to publish, or getting something going to do with legal matters that are going to work on your behalf, right? But then later on, that little surprising Uranus freedom-loving thing around the 29th, give or take a few days, just looks like you could have a real seize the day moment where you're taking charge of something to do with travel or academics or legal matters and just breaking through in a very, very positive way. All right, Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. If this is your sky, which it is, Mars is rising in your 8th house of chunky money, but he's also coming into this part of your sky from January the 4th until February the 13th. And excuse that sound. And what I would say about this is that it's going to open up a couple of years of chunky money for you because it's rising on the 27th indicates that not since 1977 have you experienced this chunky money increase or change, whatever that would have been like. 77 to 79 will be repeated as 2024 to 26. We'll do deep dives on that, as I said in the beginning and another video and my webinar. But here I say, watching Mars coming into that flow to Saturn, from the very beginning of January 4th, when he enters in there and peaking out around the 10th and then hitting that Jupiter trine on the 12th, making a mini grand trine, Mars would like for something like this to be true. He wants you to increase your stamina, perseverance, and your expertise, your authority, and your mastery in your career in a way that generates you more money, more passive income, more revenue that you don't have to hustle for. And at the same time, he's telling Jupiter, let's draw that money from international shores, international companies, payment processors, and foreign land revenues. However, there is a possibility as well as receiving some kind of inheritance money or bequeathment money, most particularly perhaps from a father figure or elder. Father figures do not have to be fathers, or just someone you might think of as an older male that's like a father figure to you, just maybe by age, for example, right? Doesn't have to be literal. And you may get some of that money coming to you when? Well, Mars could suggest that money could come to you anytime in the next 2 years, actually, but because of the rise here, but also maybe more proximately, that might be something you're aware of as a possibility in the month of January. At the very end, at January 29th, surprise, Uranus gets involved in the mix, and Uranus is in a flow to Mars. There's some unexpected money for sure, chunky money coming from foreign lands, payment process, foreign shores, and foreign revenue. Yes, you can also turn this into an occult mysteries and deep spiritual path story as well, but I'm just going with a simple delineation of it looks like a lot of money stuff. And possibly secrets that have been spilled many a time when Mars is in the 8th house. And with Uranus in the 12th, it could be stories and ancestral secrets, or secrets that are coming out of like a kind of a darker closet of your ancestral line. Shock, surprise, I have a brother I didn't know about, or my father's not my dad, or my uncle is my father. I don't know. Weird stuff like that can be happening here. But anyway, it's a positive surprise. It is a trine to Uranus, and it does allow you a lot of seize the day, break free, rebellious, positive rebellion energy on the last week of January. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising. This is a Mars rising in your house of marriage. If you're single and you're looking for your person, possibly that could bring that person in. However, Mars is also the guy who cuts and ends. And if you need to get out of a relationship that's not good for you, and it's long term, Mars can give you an exalted ending, meaning things should be very exciting, if not dramatic, and also effective in creating the ending that you wish to see in your 7th house of committed love and marriage partners and business partners as well. You can bring some Martian people into your life as well, who are very intense energies, especially with Pluto up there in January. Mars is going to reset that 7th house for you, as I said, as he rises on the 27th. You haven't seen that since 1977. You have to go back to January of 1977 and add 2 more years after that. Just as you'll go to January 26 and add 2 more years, 24, and go to January 26 to see major life changes in the 7th house. And that's how you reach your audience and others as well, how you reach your marketplace, changes in how you aggressively pursue that. As Mars is moving through your 7th house, so he flows in the early part of from the beginning, January 4th to February 13th. Remember, he's in your Capricorn sky. He flows to Saturn in your house of academics and book publishing and foreign travel and legal matters and spiritual philosophy. And he also flows to Jupiter in the house of great gains from your career, as well as allies like big sisters or brothers, or friends who treat you like they want to really help you, like benefactors and that kind of vibe. So I wonder here what's going on, but it looks to me like you might be benefiting from the help of a friend or an elder sibling, or increasing your career gains through new ways of reaching your audience. But at the same time, you may have a pull to learn something. Saturn up here can bring you into a desire to learn from an authority, an expert, or a master. And Jupiter is also about education. So you may be looking at some educational opportunities or teaching opportunities coming through the sky in the month of January. At the same time, though, as the month progresses and he becomes visible, then by the 29th after that, he's trining Uranus. There's some surprises. You could have some unexpected gains from your career, some financial benefits from an elder sibling, giving you some, some windfall money or some prize money or something. You can also find that there's a lot going on that may be surprising or unexpected to do with things to do with your partner. And it's not even about you. You're number one main squeeze, with a little shock and awe info coming through the sky for you on the 29th. But this is all flowing, and Mars would like it to work for everybody. It's not a difficult shock and awe at all. Okay, moving on to the next narrative. And it is not a long video because we're doing the deeper one, the longer one later. So this is Leo. And yes, it is. This is Leo, sun, moon, and rising. And Mars is in his Capricorn transit here, January 4th to February 13th, in a place we call the house of his joy, the 6th house. He likes it here. Now, this is a house of work, working with colleagues and coworkers. It's a house of debts, it's pets, it's rentals and properties and tenancies, it's duty and service. And so Mars is excited when he's here. He works hard, he gets things done, he grinds with you. But he also can end, cut, and sever things. And some people quit jobs when he's here, or jobs quit them, especially if they're not the right job for you. And so Mars is going to open up those kinds of stories for January 4th to February 13th, as he does every 2 years. This is a very special time, though, because I mentioned on the 27th of the month, he will rise at 17 degrees. And that means that that's going to be an indication of a place for you where you're going to be more successful. And that's your work house. So work and job and career, pets and rental and tenancies and debts, real and karmic, maybe releasing, cutting, and ending debts like credit cards can really be signified here over the next couple of years for you. And if you need to improve your health, because sickness belongs here, Mars gets you active and finds new ways of moving, especially in Capricorn, more traditional ways of moving, maybe yoga or something that can allow you to fortify and strengthen your body. It's good for surgeries as well. Not that I suggest you do it when he's invisible. Never have a surgery when he's invisible. I say wait till after the 27th of the month. At least this invisible Mars might be the surgeon doesn't show up at the operating table. But I would just say be careful not to do any surgical procedure if you can avoid it when Mars is not visible. So wait till after the 27th of the month of January. So Mars is here, and he does flow to Saturn in the 8th house of chunky money and Jupiter in your 10th house of career, most active in the middle of the month around the 10th and 12th, but nonetheless, give it at least a week on either side. And during that time, you might just be in this mini grand trine, having a nice glow up in your taxes and your savings to do with 401k, your investments, your insurance payouts, your money you share with your significant other. And as well with Jupiter in the 10th as a career, long term here, you're getting career success, right? Jupiter's here until the 3rd week of May. So this is your career success time. And you've had it start up last year in May. So it continues to the 3rd week of May this year. So a lot of career success. Jupiter is now direct, feeling good about your career direction. And this can look like a job opportunity. Like you could win, Mars competes for a job that you really, really want, and you cannot believe you got it. That kind of thing. You're lucky here. But then with Saturn, you could get a sign-on bonus. Saturn in the 8th house, you could get a really good benefits package and all those kinds of perks that help you in the longer range financial stories of your life. And with Uranus on the 29th, there may be a surprise at work that benefits you greatly, or a surprise to your health that benefits you greatly, positive surprises. And you may also have a little bit of a kind of rebel streak going on in your work environment and career space where you're breaking some rules, but hey, what the heck? You're looking for freedom. So if you're going to quit a job unexpectedly, or it quits you, but it's still good for you, that would be closer to the January 29th timeframe. A lot of you, however, are going to up-level new developments in work, pets, home, tenancies. Mars is a ruler of your 4th house, Leo. That's where you live. And this is a house of rental. So being able to rent a property or rent out a property are very possible here, or bring home an amazing new pet. So, you can make a story that there's a surprise, there's a pet on your doorstep on the 29th and you take it in, something like that. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. So, Virgo, this is a story of Mars in the house of romantic love, and he's a god of sexual energy. He's going to be here from January 4th to February 13th. So this can be a real increase in your sexual desire, your sexual romantic life, a real sort of intensification of passion. But the passion and intensity does not have to be all about sexuality. When Mars is here, it can be you're passionately driven to finish a creative project, to start an entrepreneurial business, very self-starter, to compete and be more athletic. And maybe with Mars here to take a chance on games of chance and see if you can win something. With Mars here also, it is not the good time for pregnancy if you're trying to get pregnant. Mars tends to end and cut things, especially in this house. It's usually connected to ending pregnancies or terminating, or sometimes miscarriages, I have to say. So if you're being proactive around fertility transits, I always, in my fertility reading, suggest people not try to conceive when Mars is in their 5th house. So that, again, is January 4th to February 13th. And also when Mars is here, you might find your children are very much in your story and they're flowing to you, but Mars is about combat. So you may have some exalted arguments or with your children, or difficult conversations, or combat with your children. Mars is very feisty here. But on the other hand, he's doing so many positive things. I think this could also be very motivational energy that's directed toward your children in some way. You might want to go back to 1977 when Mars was rising here. That was January of 77, add 2 years. He's rising here again in January of 2024. That means from 24 to 26, 2026, January to January, you're going to be very successful in entrepreneurial business, creative projects, fertility. Well, maybe fertility, I don't know about that. Creative projects, connections with your children. Now, exalted Mars can kick a kid out of the house, denest a child. That could be very possible as well, but in a positive way that you're really looking forward to. You may have some really great success here in speculation, money that you get through investments, gaming, stock markets, more risky endeavors for finances can be quite lucrative for you in the next couple of years, I think, with that Mars exaltation of your fifth house. Now, early in the month, January the 10th and 12th, he flows in a perfect sextile to Saturn, trine to Jupiter, making a lovely little mini grand trine in the sky, as you can see. And that mini grand trine is suggesting that you're going to have some great success in the following areas. But you may not see the visible proof of it until after he's visible on the 27th. But you may be building up for some great success to do with how your creative projects reach an audience, how you can business partner with others in a stable way, how you can find more sexuality, romance, and intense connection to a significant long-term marriage partner. And also you may, because Saturn is testing your long-term committed love stories and will continue to do so until the end of 2025. And so you need to know that this is a testing period. This can be a bit of a glow up that gets the romance juices rising, in January, so that you forestall the testing in your relationship. And then Jupiter in the ninth house can bring you great success as well, of course, with Mars's ambition and drive to do with foreign trips and travel, academic successes, things to do with legal matters, especially legal matters regarding contracts and marriage agreements can be very successful. Maybe not just January 10th to 12th, give a week on either side, but this can be maybe imprinting into what Mars is up to over the 2 years that follow, because he's here and he will rise here, and this action happened before his rising. And there's a surprise element as he trines Uranus in your ninth house, and it's going to be Mars in your fifth, where there is the element of a surprise that can bring you great joy, great excitement, great satisfaction, an unexpected travel opportunity coming your way, maybe on the 28th of January to a foreign country, a legal win, an unexpected great experience in an academic environment. Certainly can happen. Now, unexpected romance could happen here too, right? And it would be with a foreigner, a foreign shore person, someone you meet in a court setting, or something to do with academic settings and something to do with the word romance, but unexpected or freedom-loving, rebellious romance can occur here too. During the 29th of January, add, a few days, 3 days on either side, maybe. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. So in the sky, we have Mars rising in your fourth house, by the way, entering your fourth house on January 4th to February 13th, rising on the 27th, reminding you that that's a cycle that can change your home life over the next 2 years, because this rising has happened before. If you were alive in January 1977, add 2 years, you've seen it before. Now, here we go again, moving from your home, exiled from your home, traveling far away from your home, constructing and building and creating a new home. Mars can roll like sharp objects like drills and maybe pickaxes and shovels or something. So there's all of that. And Saturn is, I'll get to that in a minute. So know that part of your life will change. Then on January 10th and 12th, Saturn and Jupiter get involved in a flow called a mini grand trine. Saturn could give you an exalted opportunity to rent a new rental property, or to rent out your property. Saturn can bring you an exalted new opportunity to even sell a property, trining Jupiter in your eighth house of mortgages and banks. So selling property, buying property, renting property are all excitingly activated. But if you want a pet, Saturn here can bring you a pet, probably an old pet, an elder pet, a rescue pet. And this must be an opportunity to get that pet lined up around January 10th and 12th. It's also a time in which you can stabilize things going on in your job and workspace in a very good way that can also bring you longer term financial gain, especially if you can invest some of the money you're making or get some kind of other benefits like a year-end bonus or a sign-on package or a severance package. All of those things are possible in terms of chunky money connected to work. Now, even though this is happening January 10th and 12th, the actual results may not be visible to you until after the 27th. Then Mars will, after he becomes visible on the 27th, and he will be conjunct Mercury at the time, but we're going to talk about that as a separate video. He moves into a trine, a beautiful flow to the planet Uranus. Now, Mercury is going to be pretty close by, so there's this like kind of news cycle energy, right? Coming through this trine. You could have unexpected news or unexpected seize the day, freedom loving adventure, some opportunity to buy a property, to sell a property, to get a home equity loan, to pay off a debt, to get a legacy wealth thing going. I'm going to tell you, news that you're going to inherit money could come through your sky sometime in the end of January. You could say anytime, really, honestly, January 27th to couple days into February. So stay tuned for that. Looks like it could happen for some of you, especially with Pluto in the fourth house and the sun. So maybe money from a parental or father figure or elder up the line, maybe a male, could come through for some of you. But otherwise, it's again, I delineated the other options already, especially around this real estate angle, property angle, and maybe rentals and tenancies with Saturn here. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. What we have on the sky here for you is that Mars will move into Capricorn on January 4th to February 13th. That's your third house, and that involves travel. Mars does like to travel. This is also like trains, planes, and automobiles when he's here. So you might get a new car. You might be excited about your Porsche or something. But also Mars here can bring you a great deal of change and excitement when it comes to the local neighborhood. And you might even move Mars, your neighborhood, opening up a new neighborhood for you. Neighbors, siblings can be here, and sometimes cousins. And so don't think you're going to argue with them too much. Mars is exalted. You could have some problems arguing with a younger sibling, but he does flow to your identity here, Mars. And so I don't think it's going to be anything significant. It may even be more excitement and passion and directionality regarding your relationship with your neighbors, neighborhood, siblings, especially younger. Mars here also can bring up opportunities that you're passionate about for skills-based learning. You want to learn, you want to get a driver's license. No, you want to get your real estate license. You want to get some kind of skill set. You're going to learn how to do it. So it's not like your, history of the world PhD or something. It's a very particular kind of learning. Colleges or shorter distance learning or webinars and stuff. And you may be experiencing some passionate learning opportunities January 4th to February 13th. Now, there is a mini grand trine opening up here as Mars flows to Jupiter and Saturn between the 10th and 12th of January. Now, and give it a week before and after, please. And Mars is somehow saying, okay, Lord Saturn, let's get really driving on the following themes. Can we get an independent entrepreneurial business up and running? Can we stabilize our long-term creative projects in a way that we share them with great vigor in the online social media world? Can we take a trip that's a romantic getaway that's very traditional or stable, maybe a place you've been to before, with my significant other, Jupiter in the 7th. Certainly, I'd say the January 10th to the 12th, a week on either side. Some of you will take a romantic trip with a significant other. Now, legal contracts belong to Jupiter's place in the 7th. The 5th house is creative projects and entrepreneurship, and the third house is social media these days. Means of communication and dispensing the news. And it used to be periodicals and magazines. Now it's websites, blogs, social media platforms. So in a way, this third house could open up an opportunity for a legal agreement regarding something you're doing online, something to do with entrepreneurship or creative projects as well. And you write in the third house. And if you want to write songs, music, books, whatever, articles, you're passionately writing. Now with knowing that Mars bakes in here, these themes I'm telling you, because he rises here, are also, you could be writing like crazy for 2 years, longer term stories. Now, this goodness that I'm talking about with your 5th house and your 7th house, maybe not fully evident until after January 27th, when Mars is visible and conjoined with Mercury in your 3rd house. And then on the 29th, though, he comes into a actual, surprise with Uranus in the house of your marriage and business partners. And things are going well, right? You're up leveling here. You're going to get married. You're going to move in together. You're going to commit. If you're already with someone, if you're not, you can meet your person during this Jupiter transit to the end of May. And this surprise is something, maybe a surprise trip opportunity, or some surprise being delivered by your business or love partner, or some surprising breakthrough on the internet with something you're doing online, because that's very all possible. And that's around the 29th. And Mercury adds fuel to the fire because he's the guy who has all the news to give, with Mars in the third house. So big, exciting developments that are positive, seize the day, freedom, breakthrough energy for you on the 29th in third and seventh house matters. Okay. So we're going to move into the next story. All right, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. It's going to be dark here before I finish. So first of all, Mars is going to be in your second house of earnings and income and resources and values and possessions from January 4th to February 13th. It's ideal, by the way, for quitting a bad food or addiction, right? Because he eliminates the things you should not put in your mouth. And during this window of time, it's definitely a dry Jan for some of you, Sages, January 4th to February 13th, there's a possibility that what you're going to see here is an opportunity for some increase in your resources and earnings and making more money, basically. Now, Mars does spend vigorously in the second house, and you may spend a little more, but you'll spend it usefully and in a wise way because of its flowing energy to other planets. Give me a slurpy water moment. Hang on. It's because you're my third video today, guys. All right. So Mars is capable of increasing your revenue, your earnings, and your money here. And Mars is also saying that he could do that for the next 2 years because he's going to rise here January 27th. And therefore, like January of 1977, add 2 years back then, we're going to go January 27th of 2024, add 2 years. Your revenue will increase. Your spending may increase, but your revenue as well. This is a self-starter position, and you may have new entrepreneurial instincts and self-starter energies activated over the couple of years that follows this rise in January. Early in the month, before he's visible, January 10th and 12th, he does flow in a mini trine to Saturn and Jupiter. And so when you go like the 10th and 12th of the month and add a week on either side, things are percolating and burbling up here, where you could have some really great financial opportunities to buy or sell real estate, to make changes in your home, to construct something new in your home, to have the money you need to construct or change or do something different in your home. And also, Jupiter is saying opportunities in the work environment, but also Jupiter, Saturn, rental opportunities. So rental opportunities, rent a property out, become a landlord, sell a property, buy a property, change a property, construct something new in the property, are very much a theme that's going on in January. Also with Jupiter in your sixth house, you could improve your health here through things you change in your diet structure. And that's very positive as well for you, especially again, January 10th and 12th, where epicenters, but it flows a week before and after. I also think that with Jupiter in your second house and Saturn in your fourth, it's an ideal pet story for some of you. I know some of you have the pet story. You're one of the signs that says time to get a bounteous, beautiful, new, good and true and wise and Jupiter pet, that maybe with Saturn in your fourth house, helping you feel less lonely in the home or alone in the home, and bringing you a sense of greater joy and satisfaction in life. And then as we move further out around January 29th, we see that this Mars with, rising to visibility 2 days earlier, hugging Mercury, will flow to your surprise element of unexpected development. So expect the unexpected to do with the opportunity for a financial opportunity for work. Get a new job offer. Job offer is a part of what I should have mentioned earlier, percolating through January. New job offer. Exciting directions to do with rentals and pets. The excitement around January 29th can be an unexpected pet story, an unexpected rental story, an unexpected property story, an unexpected work employment story. Okay? Big themes running through the sky and getting really exciting, and seize the day and how freedom loving it all is around January 29th, give or take 3 days on either side. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising, Mars is exalting you. Were you alive in January of 2000 and 1977 through to 1979? Because if you were, you experienced this energy of Mars rising to the visible place in the sky, in the morning sky, in your sign. So did you exalt? Did you rise? Did you have great success in the 2 years that follow? In what ways did you? Was it career? Was it marriage, love, home, property? But you can have success in any area of your life, have children born to you, grandchildren born to you. That's what you could, there's so many areas, more revenue, more income, okay, more travel. So all of these things could have exalted, but you were exalted. You were bringing into something powerful into your being. You definitely want to sign up for the webinar and watch my longer video because you guys are going to get the most out of this. So Mars on January 4th to February 13th is in its every 2-year transit through your sign. You get more decisive, more action-oriented, more bold, more daring, more aggressive, more superheroed every time this happens. So you always like this transit because you feel that exaltation energy. And then, of course, Lord Saturn, who owns the real estate of Capricorn, is going to be invited into the story on January 10th, and then on the 12th, Jupiter. So it's really like go January 10th to 12th. Add a week on either side, and you're feeling some kind of sweetness here, humming away for travel opportunities, for connections to siblings or positive developments, neighbors and neighborhoods, and maybe things to do with opportunities for your online life, or all opportunities are very positive. I'm talking Saturn in your third house for an opportunity to learn something you wish to be masterful at. And Jupiter also in the fifth house of your natural talents would say masterful at something you're talented at, and you might want to learn how to do it. So some of you Capricorns may study or sign up for a course or something like that. January 10th to 12th, give or take a week on either side. But it can also bring a trip opportunity to you. And if you are going to take a trip, it could be with a significant romantic partner, or maybe involving a trip to see children, or trips of your children to see you, that kind of thing. If you're an entrepreneur, this up-levels your entrepreneurial business, especially as it applies to the online world, or trips and travel connected to creative projects and entrepreneurial business. Your children may be having a bit of luck here. Jupiter's in the house of your children till the third week of May. And with that flow to Saturn, it can be unexpected positive developments to travel with your children, or having some unexpected positive things going on in their life. This is a fertility transit too. So Capricorns who could get pregnant, or your partner can, who knows, this could be positive, exciting news that there is a child on the way. And maybe a travel trip opportunity to conceive one in the middle of January, like the 10th and 12th, right? Give or take a week on either side. Now, what I'm going to say here is that because this is so many ways to delineate this stuff, but when Mars becomes visible conjunct Mercury in the house of you are the one with the news, right? You're the one, like, I've got all the news that's fit to print. I've got information. I've got ideas. So you're excited. You got things going here. And then he moves on the 29th into that trine to Uranus. So you may have conceived an amazing new idea for a creative project, an entrepreneurial business, or possibly some exciting developments regarding your romantic life. And sometimes, like, because Jupiter, Uranus are in the house of children or romance and romantic people, this may also be about their unexpected and exciting developments as well. You could win money when Jupiter is in your fifth house. You know what I mean? Like lotteries and casinos. Uranus is a surprise shock that you actually win. And that's really active on the 29th. And you want to give that about 3 days on either side. So some of you could win some money here. And especially with Mercury, Mars in the house of you, because Mercury is, I got some exciting news, world. You won't believe what just happened. I won the lottery, or the horse I bet on won. So I'd say buy a lottery ticket around the 29th of the month. Okay. You can't win if you don't play, but don't overdo it. All right, so we're going to move past Capricorns, and we're going to move next into, I'm Aquarius rising, like one of you guys, and we're going to talk about what happens in this rising story. Well, go back to 1977. If you were alive, and that was January of 77, Mars was rising in your 12th house, and now he's back. It was 2 years, 77 to 79, and now he's coming back to rise again. Now, the 12th house is interesting. Mars rising here, the 27th of January, 2 years, could really increase your foreign land travel and connections. And I think the last time this happened for me, I was 16 and I traveled to Mexico for the first time out of my country. So there's a sense of getting abroad, traveling, but I also got caught up in a born again Christian movement and got really religious because, spirituality and religion can be connected to the 12th house as well. So, well, not religion, but spirituality, but then awakening, right? But then it squares the house of religion. That's why I got involved in a dead end religion. So reminding you of things that can happen here, because I can remember that time I was alive. It was like Jesus, I don't know, whatever it was called, the Jesus groups that I belong to, Pentecostals, that's what they're called. Okay, so back to you. So us Aquarians, this is from January 4th to February 13th. And when Mars goes through your 12th house, you have to think about what you're doing behind the scenes that you're really passionate about. You might be digging in the back scenes, writing a book, creating projects that no one in the world can see yet. You're like in the artist's backroom studio getting shit done or something like that. So you might be very passionately working January 4th to February 13th on projects that will later take form. But also, this is definitely a foreign lands house. You could be traveling to a foreign country, or foreigners could be coming to you from far off shores in that time as well. And I will be traveling to a foreign country. Then I'm off to Belize. But also you might find that this energy of Mars in this part of the sky can help increase your revenue sources from foreign places and foreign lands, as he exalts the drive, passion, ambition, hard work you have to increase your payment processors, borderless income, etc. He can help you get rid of a bad habit, pattern, or addiction. He can help you cut all the dross that gets in the way of quitting a substance that you don't want. So this could be a very good dry Jan story for some Aquariuses, or dry Jan February anyway. And then Mars is also going to flow around the 10th and the 12th into that mini grand trine with Saturn in the second house of earnings. So that definitely brings you into a place of greater earnings in the middle of January. The full extent of the power of it may be more visible when Mars is visible after the 27th, but you're putting determination, hard work, courage, good timing, fortunate action markers into place with that Jupiter trine in your fourth house. There's things you're doing in and from the home that are decisive, and they're fortunate, and they involve good timing. And you're also, of course, like nose to the grindstone, right? Mars, Saturn. Your nose to the grindstone is about how to express earnings, basically. It's how to get your money story increased from 12th house matters. And so you're really grinding to do that. Now, not everyone is going to do foreign borders revenue, right? So you could be just doing projects and exciting things behind the scenes that are going to later generate revenue or begin to generate greater financial stability and security in your life. And that's very true, January 12th to 10th to the 12th, a week on either side. With Jupiter in your fourth house, you're bounteous, prosperous, lucky at home. You can teach from home. You have good things happening in your home, and you enjoy your home and have enjoyment in the home. And that's true all the way through until the third week of May. And it is going to be very actively engaging Jupiter, that Mars, in the time around the 12th of the month. Because Mars likes to travel and Jupiter's in the home, there could be travel opportunities involving the word home, from your home or to your home as well. And funny enough, I'll be traveling back to my home in Vancouver then. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, moving forward, we see that Mars is going to be co-joining with Mercury and trining Uranus on the 29th. Unexpected positive surprises involving mercurial themes, marketing, money, commerce, Jupiter, positive commerce, things to do with Uranus, shock and surprise. But it will involve ultimately things to do with real estate and property. But Mercury also rules your fifth house of money, luck, and speculation and gaming. And he's conjunct Mars in the 12th, a foreign lottery, money luck coming from, a far off place, some kind of boom energy going on in the fourth house to do with financial success, perhaps connected to your home and home life. But unexpected surprising opportunities may be involving travel to a foreign country emerging around the 29th of the month. And so look for that as well. And it could be quite exciting for you and very freedom loving, and very much you feel like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to seize the day and take this trip. You may not take it on the 29th, but you certainly may discover there's an opportunity for that as well. Righty. And then we're moving into the Pisceans. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, what we're seeing here, let's start with the basics, is we're seeing the Mars entry on January 4th through to February 13th, every 2 years, into your 11th house of good spirit. Now, tends to, when Mars goes through here, he can cut and sever friendships and groups of belonging that you don't like, but he can also exalt those friendships and bring very powerful allies and benefactors to you. That is like a big brother, big sister, or people who treat you as if they have to give you favors or benefactors or allies to you. And the exaltation of that, it's really a game on, right? That's a broad theme. And also you might be very passionate and driven about increasing your greater career gains. You might be very decisive about cutting away any longer range goals and plans from your life, dreams and long range plans that aren't right anymore, and executing them, killing them off to leave just the best ones standing, pruning your vision board, basically. And Mars here can also bring you some kind of conflict or conversations with an elder sibling, because he'll be joined by Mercury, and that would be conversations with an elder sibling, but maybe also very feisty and very intense, right? Very maybe combative even, but ultimately it sextiles you, so it's pretty damn good. You can see that Mars is going to flow to Jupiter and to Saturn on the 10th, to Saturn, and exactly to Jupiter on the 12th. This is still one story. So a week before the 10th and a week after, you're kind of getting one big glow up here. Mars wants to support you to make decisions that are wise, that are going to give you the right sober-minded and realistic outcomes about yourself, your health, your life, and anything you want to do. As Saturn going through your house is giving you this sage-like energy, or this wiser Yoda-like Obi-Wan Kenobi vibe or something. And as this is happening, you're going to see around, I said, the 10th to the 12th, a week before and after, Mars gets in on the game, and he tries to tell Saturn something like, I've got some really good action plans and fortunate directions that we can go in with a lot of hard work and discipline, as we apply it to 11th house matters. So it can be you're going to be driving to get more public acceptance, social engagements, a larger reach of an audience, or you're understanding the need to really refine and slice down some of the groups of friendships that you already do have to find greater ones. But because gains of your career, including money from the 10th is here, you might be really driving, hardworking, persevering, nose to the grindstone to do some kind of work that increases your revenue from your career. So grindstone, nose to the grindstone, forbearance, and really going for it anytime around January 12th, a week before and after. And then Pisces. You also know that Mars is flowing to Jupiter in your third house. So that's definitely going to say there's some really great opportunities for the success in the online world, travel, success through siblings younger and older, some successful opportunities to teach something or to learn something as it involves career gains, some successful opportunities as well in any of your social media online platforms. And you get a bit of luck down there, and it could be really that luck will increase your drive and ambition and hard work, and reciprocal cycle. The more hard work you do, the more luck you have, and the more luck you have, the more hard work you do, and you get on the treadmill of success. Basically, your gilded cage is coming for you. But because Jupiter travels, he loves to fly the friendly skies, and he's in the third house of shorter distance travel. You may travel to see a sibling. You may travel to a place you've been before, or more local travel. But there can definitely be some significant positive travel for you between about, well, right in the beginning, really, January 4th to about the 20th of January. And then you're going to see that Mars will join on the 27th, Mercury at 17 degrees of Capricorn, become a visible planet rising in the sky. It's kind of interesting. The sun is there at 17 degrees on January 8th. This is going to be a part of my webinar, actually. But, you'll be able to see that maybe things that happened January 8th seeded what this excitement is going to be around the 27th and then the 29th, as both Mars and Mercury flow to Uranus. So there's unexpected surprise energy. Yes. I mean, certainly it has the idea here of a breakthrough when it comes to sibling connections, travel opportunities, career gains, the online world, social media platforms, skills-based learning. These are third house matters where Uranus is delivering the surprise or the unexpected development, but positive, okay? And if there's anything you're doing in the social media world that it could create some kind of massive viral exposure, where like you're going viral, certainly having Venus up in the sign of Sagittarius is a contributing factor. Now, she is not there all forever and ever, but she's there till about February 3rd. So you can really get this glow up in your public reputation. So you can really get some kind of significant glory, fame and glory vibe going here at the end of the month, especially. Anything else I want to tell you? Like getting on a show, going on a show, being featured by somebody, getting a raise or promotion too, as well. So that's about it. I hope that's useful to you. I hope that you can use that. Don't forget, we're going to go much deeper in the longer video coming out probably around the third week of January about the the Mars rising into visible sky on the 27th of January. And that webinar I will probably teach 2 days before, around the 25th of January. And I'll put a link to subscribe to sign up below. I usually, as I said, teach these things free, and I have, but this time it's going to be such a longer webinar. I'm going to put it up for a nominal fee, maybe $14.99 or something, because it's going to take me a long time to prepare it. So I hope to see you at that webinar, because we'll talk about stuff to harness, use, and make sense of this rising. This could impact your life for 2 years that I haven't done and won't be able to do on a video or on YouTube land. It's way more deep than that. You'll have to look at your natal Mars and your natal Saturn to see, and whether or not you're in a Time Lord state in which Saturn is or Mars are ruling you at this point. So you're going to look at that energy of what you need to see and how to make sense of what's going on as the Mars rising happens. Okay, big hugs for everybody. And I got to roll. I'm getting some weird messages on my computer. Don't forget to like, subscribe. All through this, I forgot to say, hit the bell for notifications if you're in the premiere. Thank you. I hope you guys remember to do that. Have a wonderful January 1st duck. And duck that Saturn Venus square on New Year's Eve. Oh my goodness. Ciao, everybody.